Hi Pisces, happy January. I hope you're doing well, okay? Alright guys, I think this is going to be a mixed bag here. So take what's meant for you and leave the rest, check your other signs, okay? I think for some of you, and I think we had this some months back, in reference to prison. I think if that was still on the table, I think it's a possibility still that may be the verdict, or someone is already in prison, like literally a prison. I think if someone is trying to collect a debt on something, you own a business and you're trying to collect something from a client, you may have a little bit of a weight on that. I don't think that would go smoothly right now. For others of you, I think you're trying to make a choice about something, but you're confused. You're not quite sure what to do. I also feel that someone in your surroundings may be zapping your energy, so be conscious of that. I don't think it's intentional, but I feel it very strongly, okay? Again, I think some of you are trying to make a decision about something, but you're not really sure what to do. I think you've got people in your surroundings that are telling you one thing, and I think you've got other people that are telling you something else. Now, for some of you, I think that, now this is not for happily married people, okay? This is for people who, I think that there are relationships here where you're going to let past hurts jeopardize this relationship. I think you've got someone in your surroundings that really does care about you. I just think that you're doing this dance in that relationship, and this person is having to deal with some things that you may not have settled already, right? I think that some of you have people in your surroundings that are good, strong-willed partners, right? But I think that your lack of self-worth is jeopardizing the relationship, okay? By that I mean you may have someone, you may be on the receiving end of someone that I just think they're sacrificing in relationships here. And I think it's to a degree where you're having to deal with, or someone is having to deal with, fallout from something someone hasn't gotten over. There may be jealousy issues, things like that, right? That's the kind of thing I'm talking about here. Now, for others of you that are again, I think that you're doing a number on yourself here. I think that sometimes too, it's like we in relationships, this seems to be focusing more so around relationships. Some of you in business, like if you own your own businesses, or you use tools, or I guess like, you know, like work tools, be careful. Be careful that you are not, just be careful of that. I think there's a, maybe more of a time right now for accidents, something like that, right? If you're doing the hunting thing, right, or you're, you know, doing whatever, be careful with that also. Just be extra careful is all I'm saying. Some of you have fears surrounding a relationship. Again, this may have to do with that prison, someone going to prison or whatever. If you think that someone has done something, maybe this is something different, but I know we've gotten this in the past, and I'm pretty sure it was Pisces. This may be someone that may end up going to prison for something. So if you're asking yourself, am I making this up? Am I making more about this? Then it should be no, you're not, because your fears are warranted here. Okay, that's for some of you. Now, for others of you, I think that you are dating multiple people, right? I think that you've got someone here who is very flirtatious, okay? And I think that you've got, for those of you that are, this would be like your second time getting married, you've got two very, very different people, I think, that are coming into your sphere here. You've got someone who has very strong moral character, and you've got someone, they're not, neither is bad, it's just you've got one person who's really, they know who they are, and there's another person here who is lighter in energy, lighter in characteristics too, but just not as, they just don't take, they're very different energies. One is very fiery, passionate, but grounded, right? Would keep your life interesting for sure. And the other is very, maybe very attractive, but a little on the boring side, right? So I think you've got polarities between those. I think there is a date coming up. I think the date will be pleasant, okay? But it's a date. And I think, again, you're dating multiple people here. Very different people, right? But that's all I've got around that. I don't see a negative there. I just see someone who, keep in mind that one of these people, if you think they appear to be a little bit flighty or so, they are. But that's part of their character. So that may work for someone, that may not work for someone. It's not a negative or a positive. It's just extremely different. And for others of you, I think that you are sacrificing in a relationship, okay? I think for others of you in relationships, your fear of commitment, right? You may notice that you date people that are not emotionally available for a reason, right? Like maybe you're not really looking to get married, or it scares you, or it's something that you're not really sure about, right? I think, again, with that, I think there's underlying things that haven't been resolved, right? So I think that, ironically, in that scenario, I think you've got someone in your sphere who can be counted on. I just think you're giving them a run for your money, or vice versa. Meaning because you're not, you've got unresolved issues, basically, right? I think also you might be putting expectations on this relationship that you may not want to do that, right? Because sometimes that alone can shoot you in the foot, right? Where you're putting the expectation on it, but the other person isn't, and they're watching you do whatever it is that you're doing, but it's very clear, I would say, that you're not settled here. So maybe talk to your partner about that, because the person does have staying power, but I think you may lose this opportunity if you don't at least tell them what the real deal is here, right? For some of you, I think you're going away, couples. I think you're going away for maybe a little getaway after the holiday, or wherever you're going, though, it's not a warm place. You're going somewhere that's cold, like there's snow there. So maybe like skiing or something. Again, I think you're hung up here. I think you want to do something. I just think you're not trusting enough in yourself to make the decision. If there's something you want to do, right, that is, say, to make more money or something like that, and you've got some kind of side job idea to do, go for it. I see nothing that would trip you up here except you. I think you're looking for backing on this, meaning you're looking for someone's approval, but you don't really need it. I think for some of you, I think you're marrying into either a family that is I don't know, kind of like Dallas, I would say, right? It's not all, every family's got something, right? But I think you're entering into something where if you're marrying this person, it's one of those scenarios where you're not really just marrying the person, you're marrying into the whole entourage there. And I think it would be a strong marriage, right? Like a strong relationship, but I think that it's one that's, it may even be a family dynamic where they actually own, you know, like a company or something like that. So it's not just the person that you're getting the whole entourage there. So again, I don't see a negative around there. I just think that it's that's what you'll get. So you won't be surprised there. Actually, you know what? I think you may be surprised a little bit. I think there will be some twists and turns there, some surprises for sure. I don't think everyone will be as happy about this, but I'm just pointing that out there for you. And I think that that's where maybe this lack of, whatever this lack of self-worth is here. I think that may be contributing to this too. I think someone is very bored. Like they're looking for something, a next chapter, right? I'm not talking about relationships now. It could be, but I'm not talking about that. I just feel that someone is very, very, it's a cyclical change. Like it's gonna change. It's like you're looking for something more in life, and I think that's maybe what's holding you up. You may not just know what that is. You'll figure that out, okay? For others of you, again, I feel this real push-pull with relationships. Like you've got one foot in the door, but then you're terrified. I think that is really just if you put some proper boundaries in place. Put boundaries in place before you get into a relationship, right? The last time you want to put something, a boundary in place is when things are going wonderful, right? You don't want to shake the boat. So put them in place ahead of time. That already kind of foretells how the relationship is going to go, right? Because you've already put them in place. People know now what you'll accept and what you won't, and it makes it's easier. It's just easier. For some of you, again, I think there are I think secrets may come out for some of you. Or maybe things that people didn't talk about, or maybe not even knew, right? I think that there is a pregnancy here. I think it's not with your partner though, right? So, and you may not even be partnered up. This may be, you know, something that you did and now you're just finding out that this person is pregnant. It could be something like that. I'm not seeing the infidelity part of this. I'm just seeing that could be a surprise for you. I don't think it impacts anyone outside of yourself, right? So I'm not saying if you're with a current partner, it's going to rip through that. It's not, that's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that you may be surprised about hearing, oh, so-and-so is pregnant, and you're thinking, oh, wow, you know, I just had a, I was just, you know, oh, wow, is what I'm thinking on that, right? So this was a mixed bag here. Okay, so for some of you, you've just got to get your self-esteem back. You've got to get your self-worth there, right? And it'll save you a lot of frustration, right? For others of you, you know, just because things rear their heads when we get into new relationships, right? It doesn't mean that you've not dealt with something. But clearly here, there's more than a few things that I think maybe they are red flags. Maybe you should pay attention to them. This is a general reading, so I can't go that far into it. But some of you you've got not wanting to really commit. You've got jealousy. You've got self-worth, right? But are these things warranted? Some are, I think, and some might not be. Because I've got a few different things here where people can actually be in really good relationships, right? And the person on the receiving end of what you're giving them is just not quite sure where you're coming from. You may want to tell them, hey, look, these are some things that are kicking up for me. I'm working my way through them. I hope you can just deal with me, right? At least that tells the person that it's not them. You know what I mean? And for others of you, I think you're in situations where you're kind of dating like a flirtatious kind of person, and you just need to be aware that they're showing you who they are. So just be aware, right? Be aware of what you're really seeing here. Okay? Because we come in here with, you've got massive 8s through here. I had to get those messages out or I would never remember them. Okay, you come in with the energy of the 8 of Cups, right? Which is telling me you're not real, you're looking for something here, right? It can be that you're just bored, though. It doesn't have to do with anything else, anyone other than you. This can just be a card of, I want to do something different. I want to do something more exciting, right? 8s are the highest you can go in something, right? Before you've got to take on a new skill set or do something new. You can't really, once you hit the 8, it's like you're in a repetitive job that you've done way too long, right? So that's where that's coming in. But your main cards in here are the Hanged Man, right? The 8, another 8 of Wands, and the 3 of Wands. Again, telling me you want to do something, but you may not just be sure how to do it. You may be hitting resistance here. Something like that, right? I don't think these are major things, except the imprisonment part. That may hit you financially somehow. All right. Now, your advice in here is the 10 of Cups and the Moon card, right? This is where I'm saying that 10 of Cups is, it's a romantic card. It's a card of being in a good spot, but are you really in a good spot, right? What's good for the goose sometimes isn't good for the gander, right? Like maybe, I think it's great. I think that it's a lot of feminine energy, meaning it doesn't mean male or female. It just means you're receptive, you're open, you're happy where you are, right? But you want more. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what keeps relationships flourishing. When you've got boxes full of stuff, right? When you're not looking for each other to make each other happy, right? Like you've got things that you're interested in. You know, you're not putting all that responsibility on someone. I think there's just a little bit of a, you know, I'm not quite sure where I am. And that's okay. Just keep your partner in the loop so they're not thinking it's them. Okay? And your outbound card is the 9 of Wands, right? So you've got 3 8s here, which tell me that you're undecided about something. Okay? Now, the 2 cards that fell out, so I had to take them, were the High Priestess and another 8, the 8 of Swords. Okay? This, I think, is you afraid of commitment. Someone's afraid of commitment here. That's what I really feel this is. But I don't think, ironically, in this scenario, is the person that's got someone with them that's got staying power. That's, you know, so at least let them know what you're experiencing. Okay. And for others of you, I think you may be letting people walk all over you in a relationship. You may want to look at that. And for others of you, I think you're dating multiple people. I think they're very vast, different kind of people. I think the person that that your first instinct is, boy, they're very bubbly, you know, flirtatious. You can you're dating very different people. There's no way you won't tell them apart. That's all I'm going to say. But the one that you think is very flighty is very flighty. That's how it's going to go. And the other one is very, very anchored. It can be men or women. It's energy I'm feeling, but they're vastly different. Actually, their characteristics may be different too. I think you've got a very dark characteristic, meaning dark features. And you've got someone else who's got very, very light features. Like they're completely opposite. Like one would be very, very black hair and the other would be like blonde hair. Very, very different. Neither negative, just you're seeing what you're getting. So pay attention. Okay. And for others of you, unfortunately, I think that someone may be, I think that the jail thing, I think there's a few different scenarios here with the prison. I think one is that someone got caught at work doing something that they shouldn't have been doing. So it's something like that. I don't think it's like embezzlement. I think it's that they did something that like invaded someone's, they did something that could bite them in the butt. Like maybe some kind of policy or disclosure that they shouldn't have done. They actually did something. In one of the other readings too, I got there that someone was collecting data, like people's personal stuff, and using it for their own advantage, right? So maybe that's somehow in here. But your fear around that is warranted for sure. Okay. Okay. I hope that I helped you out. I know this was a bit all over the board, but there's a lot of people really in here. So if you need a private reading, please reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to do anything for you. For those of you that are trying to do something to earn a little bit of extra money, go do it. Try it. Just be careful of like tools. I have a feeling that tools will be not your best friend right now. Like you know, those you know, like the electric carpenter tools, like things like that, like those electric stapler things, stuff like that. Just be careful of that. And be careful if you're going on a hunting trip. Be careful of that too. I think it's more malfunctioning of things than it is you. So that's what I'm saying. It's not like you're going to go do something. It's like your thing may misfunction there. Okay, so there you go. You don't want to shoot your eye out. Okay, thank you so much.